Okay, we got the hobo here, dropping knowledge. Alright. So, you see in other countries, right? Now listen, we all know the Anglosphere, right? We know the eternal Anglo. I have so many things I could say about the Anglos, right? The sphere. Why do you think, though, in America, the land of the free, home of the brave, and the patriots, there's been, I mean, other than the coup attempt, the insurrection on January 6th that almost took over America, why do you think in other countries like France or even Australia, the Australians were protesting, the cops were beating the shit out of them, and now the military's going in like they're occupied? Why do you think Americans, the so-called big bully braggarts, the people are such fucking, excuse my language, they're such pussies and are giving into this more than even people in England protest in London. Like, I mean, I can't jump on the Anglos, but Americans aren't doing nothing other than what happened in January 6th. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, deeply psychologically, America is more of a slave nation than any of these other nations. It had a long foundational period of the dominant economy being large and small-scale slavery. Same ethnicity slavery, predominantly.
Right.
And then, as far as America's rise to power, it began with a purchase, not a conquest, the Louisiana Purchase
Right.
in 1804.
Right.
That's when I would mark the American Empire from either 1804 or 1814, because its first war was started under false pretenses against its former mother country, Great Britain.
Yeah.
And then after that, just about every American war was started under false pretenses, which Americans were told that they were being attacked by external powers and that they had to defend themselves, even though no Viet Cong were landing on, Venice Beach, and you had no Spanish infantry storming the Chesapeake Bay in 1898.
Yeah, but what about those Nazis? Those Nazis wanted to take over the world.
You didn't have they didn't develop the New York bomber. They developed the Ural bomber. Okay, because that's the way they were headed. So all of our wars, even against little countries like Grenada and Panama, they were all couched as wars to save America against outside terrorist threats. So the war against Afghanistan ran for, I think, 19 or 20 years.
Oh yeah, the Taliban are much props to them.
Out. The U.S. officially pulled out and left behind 700 Abrams tanks to arm the insurgency of the future, just like they did in Syria. In Iraq, they pulled out at the exact time that you have the Australian military lockdown.
Yeah.
Now, what most people know that the National Guard was brought out to defend against, election protesters in Washington, D.C. in January. Most people know that. What they don't know is that elements of the 101st Air Mobile Assault Division, the 82nd Airborne,
82nd
Pure Airborne Division, and the 10th Mountain Division are three best light infantry divisions that are used around the world to occupy shithole countries and form fire bases to support Ranger Special Forces Navy SEAL operations. That elements of those three divisions, and even in artillery and nuclear warfare divisions, to amount to 35,000 men, which is about the size of Alexander the Great's Expeditionary Air Force, into Asia, was stationed in an overwatch position over Washington, D.C. in Northern Virginia. I just know that because I'm an evil acolyte, and I have a crystal ball, and I saw it, right before the little hobbit where he took my crystal ball.
They didn't make them. They didn't make them sleep in the damn parking garage at night.
So that the fact that it made no news broadcast, even though half of those news people drove past those military units on their way back and forth to D.C. every day. Okay, that made no news. It wasn't leaked, nothing. That was secret. So now you have the correlation of the U.S. military being brought back to the United States. Now, to a large degree, it's probably a sidestep into Africa to deal with what's going to be the future Sino-African war. You've already got Russian mercenaries supporting African dictators. By the way, 3 African dictators who were the only 3 world leaders that didn't go along with the Jacksonation program, they all mysteriously died within a week of their saying that they thought that African people were being ill-served by the Jacksonation.
Oh, God.
Okay?
Yeah,
and those guys got whacked right off the bat. So
CIA.
So some of the U.S. forces are probably mostly going to be going to Africa. But the point is, the focus is changing from the Middle East to Africa, and that's going to result in massive boat lifts of African refugees. Everywhere the U.S. military goes, it's like when you see a heroin addict pump that needle into their arm and the blood, you put the opium in, then the blood pops back in the needle.
Yeah, the venous
return.
return.
The U.S. is the needle. It's like we went to the Philippines, so we end up with a bunch of Filipinos in this country. You go to Vietnam, so you end up with a bunch of Vietnamese in this country.
Yeah.
Somalis, they came from the Somali expedition.
Yeah, that's right.
So wherever these U.S. forces go, we're going to be getting refugees from there.
Right.
Which is very important for population replacement. And then the focus of the military has already been refocused on suppressing dissent in the United States as a contingency. It's not a go-to thing. All right, and since American people are more slave-minded, the Australians were just slaves for a generation or two.
Right.
Then you end up with the Eureka Stockade.
Yeah.
Okay, and they're going against the home country. To begin with, those people were hardcore criminals and labor union protesters that were shipped off to Australia as a majority. As opposed to like orphan kids and stuff, which were brought here. So the American psychology was forged in the crucible of same race, same sex sodomy on the American plantations.
Oh, geez.
So our whole political system is basically based on rape. Okay.
Oh, man.
So the psychology is so weak amongst the American male. And emasculation is so rampant, and feminization is so rampant that I don't think they're going to have to bust out the military. For one thing, the people who staff the military, the young rural Yetis, the people that staff the units that have teeth, they're also the people that would be likely to revolt.
Right.
So that's all right. What, you're going to, some redneck's going to wait up to shoot his boy when he comes home to take his guns away? I don't think so.
Yeah.
So I don't see an American Civil War. I see the Civil War is already having been fought on a media level. They used to call it a soft coup, but I think it was an actual 4-year-long media war that was decisively won, and we're now under Reconstruction.
Yeah, this is definitely the Reconstruction.
Okay. So you're looking at surviving a period of Reconstruction. You're not prepping to fight some war with obsolete tools.
Yeah, no, I get you. All right, so I got one more thing, but let's check out here. This is like gold right now, man. Later.